back. Welcome to episode 18 of the Can You Geek podcast. My name is Steve.
We just talked about it, Steve.
I know. And this is Errane.
Hi.
I noticed we didn't do our introduction on the last one. It was just, I said welcome, and then we just started going because we were making fun of me actually getting episode 17 right.
Yeah, I was proud of you for doing it.
I know, and so was I.
Count. Numbers went well. Yeah, everything was gravy.
Yeah, apparently all those helping my kid with math is working for me.
Woo, math is helpful. Numbers are true.
Stay in school, kids.
Stay in school.
All right, so today we're going to be discussing our part 2 discussion, and I'm saying discussing and discussion a lot, of the San Diego Comic-Con, and it's everything not Marvel.
We originally intended to record this while I was still in South Carolina, and I had to put a kibosh on that to go play Jackbox games with family. So here we are, actually a week later, and we have had new stuff come out, but I don't think we're really evolving much of what we were going to talk about originally.
Yeah, we're going to try and keep it to what happened at Comic-Con, and then we can... I mean, there might be a few things that have come out since that we will talk about.
Yeah, we'll peruse over it, but... I mean, there's a lot of information here, so we're not covering everything. We're just kind of covering stuff we're excited about.
Yeah, it's the stuff that really, really kind of triggered it. And I mean, some of the stuff even happened before Comic-Con. So, like, the first topic, for example, that I want to talk about is the way the Walking Dead comic is ending.
Yeah, so, we started with comics last episode.
Yeah.
It's only smart that we start with comics this episode.
Exactly. I mean, it's Comic-Con, right?
It's Comic-Con. Right. No, it makes sense.
Yeah. And so for those that don't know, the Walking Dead comic was announced that episode 193, which I believe by the time this is going to be released, issued 193, came out. I want to say it was 2 weeks before this episode is even releasing. So for those that don't know, the creator of the Walking Dead comic, my brain is totally not working right now. I want to say Scott Gimple, but no, that's the TV one. And my brain is really not working. But anyways, it'll come back to me. He announced 48 hours before the release of issue 193 that issue 193 was the end of The Walking Dead, which is unheard of in the world of comics and TV, that you would just flat out come out and just be like, hey, by the way, it's over. This is it. The one that you're about to get is the last one. His reasoning for it, which I absolutely applaud, was he doesn't like knowing that a show is coming to an end or a book is coming to an end. He wanted to keep an air of like suspense, so people kept reading all the way up until the end wondering what was going to happen next. And then so he announced 48 hours before the final one came out, also to try and stop people who just collect things to be collectors from just going out and purchasing it, like pre-ordering it, and not having the actual people that have been reading it for all 193 issues be the ones to get it first. And so he made sure that all their pre-orders were done, and then he announced it, and now it's like impossible to find. But the reasoning behind doing the way he did it, I thought was insanely smart and well done, and I applaud him for having the balls to end it the way that he did. Robert Kirkman. Yes, thank you. It was going to come. I'm like, I know it's been there. I've mentioned him many times before. Yes, Robert Kirkman has my utmost respect for having the balls to end that series the way he did. So,
yeah, I'm not a Walking Dead guy, and I've talked to you about this. I don't watch the TV show. I'm not a big zombie dude. Like a couple of the zombie things that I do like are like Zombieland and Night of the Walking Dead or oh no.
I was going to say Night of the Walking Dead is a pretty...
No, that's not what I meant. The funny one. Oh, God.
Shaun of the Dead?
Thank you. Shaun of the Dead. God, that hurt. Shaun of the Dead. Like, Shaun of the... Well, I love anything those guys do. Like,
yes.
when they did like the Bad Boys thing with
Hot Fuzz
the Cops movie. Yeah, with Hot Fuzz, man, that was, whoo, that had me cracking up. That was really, really good. So they're funny, and I like that stuff. But I tried to watch Walking Dead because it was such a big hit, and a bunch of my friends love that show, and they enjoy it. And I remember as a collector of comics, it's kind of crazy because so when you talk about value in comic books, and you showed me that my journey into mystery book definitely went up in value after the Natalie Portman announcement. Well, this one's kind of an oddball, right? So there's a lot of books that do go up in value, but if you don't know it, like after the 70s, comics became more printable.
Yes.
And by that I mean like in mass quantities.
Yeah.
So when you talk about books and why some of the newer books are never really going to be worth as much as the older books, they have to have a niche that like works for them to be valuable. So I'll give you a prime example. In 1992, I want to say it was, or 93, I'm pretty sure it's 92, Batman Adventures number 12 was released. And what is special about that book is that's the first non-continuity appearance, but the actual first appearance of Harley Quinn in a comic book.
Yeah.
The reason why the book is valuable, it's not that there aren't a lot of them around, it's that a lot of them were torn up or ruined or whatever because it was just a BS comic book series based on the cartoon, which, don't get me wrong, Batman Adventures was a great cartoon, we all loved it as kids, but that comic didn't hold any value to anybody. So it's hard to find it. So it's not that it wasn't mass printed, it's just hard to find it in really good condition, and that's where your value comes in. So it like skyrocketed in price. But a lot of other comics, like they don't quite get there because after the 70s they were mass produced. The reason the first issue of Walking Dead is such a big, it got up to upwards, and the last time I checked, and this has been a few years ago, there was an issue of Walking Dead number 1 that sold for like $10,000. I think it was a 10.0, so that's a perfect on the CGC grading scale. Went for $10,000. That is ridiculous. But if you look at it, I believe Walking Dead was printed by Image. So if you look at Image Comics and where their sales are, they're not all that great. Like there is no books in the Image industry like what you see in DC or Marvel that are worth that kind of money. So Walking Dead was such a hit, such a big sensation. People loved it. Again, personally, just not for me, not my thing, but that the value in that book from the popularity of the TV show is similar to why the value in, like, for instance, Journey into Mystery 83 was such a big deal. 84, with these movies, right? Iron Man's first appearance and Strange Tales. Like there's a reason that those things get such value because of movies bringing those to life. Well, this was a TV show that became a huge hit and it got value. So whereas I'm not a fan, I do respect his decision and how he ends it. I think it's honestly really, really cool. I mean, if anything, I'd want to buy the stories to read them just to support a creator like that who loves something so much and they want to put their own love into it that they're willing to end it. Some people, they just want to keep making money or whatever, and they told their story and they got to tell it and, now it's done. Like for them, it's done. I did see, speaking of other news, that I guess season 10 is approved for the Walking Dead show. Now that's, I don't know what kind of following Walking Dead still has. I know that there's been spinoffs and stuff, and I don't know, it used to be the biggest show on AMC. Like it was one of the biggest shows on normal cable television for a while, or the biggest. I think it broke records or it just made a lot of money.
It was the biggest for a long time, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, I want to say it was, yeah. I'm trying to think of the numbers. I think it was the highest ratings per episode for at least for like mini series type things, because they never really did a ton of episodes. Like I think 12 is the max in a season.
Okay, that's fair. It's still more than like European shows. I think those are only like 4 or 5 episodes sometimes, maybe 8 at max for some of the English shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of them are really short.
Either way, really, yeah. And it's funny because, we did Marvel in the last episode, and now we're talking about the non-stuff, but this honestly was the very first piece, along with the HBO Max announcement that we're going to go over. Like, those are the first things that got us wanting to talk about news again, because, again, we keep seeing things that we talked about with, like, Disney Plus, and and things that came out for other movies and things like that we were reporting on, and this is just one more big thing. Then we were like, oh wow, that's big. But then you were San Diego Comic-Con, so just more stuff's coming out. D23 is coming up, so unfortunately with that, like, we're probably gonna we'll see a lot of stuff. We got to talk about it. I mean, it's just new stuff. And it's really big, and like the announcements they were getting, because we didn't get a lot of Star Wars from San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So
the idea D23 is going to be, I'm pretty sure, big Star Wars.
Yeah, right. And that's the speculation, because all we got from Star Wars, and I'm just going to graze over it, is they talked about the Knights of Ren, giving a little more history on that. They're talking about books and stuff they're going to write on them. There was a lot of, it showed kind of their weapons. There was some neat stuff with like a new, it's not a bowcaster, right? They wanted to make sure that they separate it from what Chewie's got. It's a different type of like bow, energy bow. I think it's called the energy bow. But the big hoopla at Comic-Con for Star Wars was the Sith
troopers.
Sith trooper. Yeah. And it's just it's a trooper with red armor. But like, it was cool because what they did at Comic-Con is in the patio booth for all of the Star Wars stuff, in the center was like a video they were playing about the history of the trooper, like the different troopers, the different stormtrooper and stuff like that, and like it had all the different outfits like out there for you to see. And the big one on display was the Sith trooper, which has opened up a lot of speculation. And then talking about the Knights of Ren, like I said, that was about it. So there's not a lot for Star Wars, but D23, just because I didn't know what it was, Steve had to explain it to me. Is D is for Disney. It's Disney's big thing. You said right, and you said 1923 was the year Disney was established. So.
Yeah,
it's kind of the official celebration.
The official Disney Fan Club Expo is what it is.
So obviously with everything they've got under one roof, that's going to be huge.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's going to be huge. Last year's, I believe, was a big Star Wars reveal at D23 as well.
And that makes sense to me. I mean, Comic-Con, we had so much Marvel things that, not that we won't get more Marvel at D23, but I mean, Marvel has a lot to bring up, just simply because they just ended an era, like a decade's worth of stuff. So they've got a lot to explain. So using Comic-Con and D23 to make those announcements is fun, suspenseful. But Star Wars will be the big one then, because we're nearing December.
Yes.
And that means that's Star Wars heaven for all of us. So we're excited about that for sure.
Yeah. And just before we move on from The Walking Dead, one of the other things that was announced, and again, why Scott Gimple was coming to my head, was they teased a new series coming out. So for those that don't watch it, I know Aaron doesn't. Currently, there are 2 Walking Dead series in the universe. There's The Walking Dead, which that's the main one. And then there's Fear the Walking Dead, which took place in LA instead of in Atlanta. And the series started right at the moment of the outbreak instead of in Atlanta. It had already happened, because you're following Rick, who wakes up and everything's already happened. And so it's him trying to figure out what's going on after he's already been awake. So Fear the Walking Dead was the start of the outbreak. And then the new one is going to be on teens, or a younger focused character. So it's going to be a more youth-based cast, but it's going to take place kind of near where The Walking Dead, I think, would kind of end, or in the same timeline as where The Walking Dead is, because the cast is going to be about kids who've grown up behind the walls of a sanctuary, like a safe space, that they know about walkers, but they don't know the true danger of walkers. So it's going to be a very interesting spin on it, and it's something I'm interested in. So what I didn't say was I was a very avid Walking Dead comic book reader up until issue 100. And then I was a very avid Walking Dead watcher until the latest season. Yeah, the latest season.
They announced season 10, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was season 8 I finished. And season 7 or 8 I finished, and then I just haven't had time to watch it. And same with Fear the Walking Dead. I watched, I want to say, the first 4 seasons pretty religiously, and then I just haven't been able to watch the 5th, or I watched the first 3 and then haven't watched the 4th yet. It's just time and everything else going on with us trying to like movies, and I don't have time. I have kids. I like to spend a little bit of time with my children.
Who wants to do that? You're weird.
I know.
Plan to just put mine to work from day one. As soon as he gets out of there, like, stop crying. You got stuff to do.
Yeah. Basically, it's instant. All right.
That's
So before... Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about Warner Brothers and DC and stuff. So before we get there, one of the other things that was announced, which I thought was really cool, was they're finally going to do a Last Starfighter sequel. I want to say I've watched this movie 7 or 8 times when I was a kid. I haven't had a chance to show my kids it yet. I mean, this movie came out in like 1984, so I was 5 years old. So I was really young. Aaron was just being born.
Not even. I still had a year left, man.
Yeah. And so it's really interesting that they're bringing this back after almost 30 years.
Now, I'm almost 100% I've seen this movie as a kid. Like, I remember this weird looking alien.
Oh yeah, no, you totally, I can guarantee you've seen this.
Yeah. Can you remind me of what the premise of The Last Starfighter was? It was a video game, wasn't it?
Yes. And then it was a video game that turned out to be like real. And so this guy was really good at the video game in his small town. And that's where the aliens happened to come. And so they picked him to come pilot their last Starfighter to fight off these other aliens.
So Future Man, have you seen Future Man?
I want to say yes.
So
it sounds familiar.
Well, Future Man is I believe it's a Hulu exclusive show, and it's amazing. It's 2 seasons deep now. The premise of it is the kid from, you remember Hunger Games?
Yep.
Remember the main love interest of Katniss Everdeen?
Peeta?
Peeta?
Yep.
Yeah, Peeta. It's him, and he beats this unbeatable video game, and people from the future that were in the game come and get him and let him know that it was a training video to save the world. And then it's just their adventures for 2 seasons. And I have to tell you, it's freaking hilarious. But that's funny that they basically just ripped off The Last Starfighter in a way. Not that not everything nowadays is pretty much... It's hard to be original because it's like, you know, it's like when South Park did the episode where they're like, the Simpsons did it. You know, Simpsons did it. Like Simpsons have already done it. They're the longest running cartoon, I think.
Simpsons have done everything. They've predicted every major change in the world.
It's kind of ridiculous. So it's interesting to see like that you're telling me that's the premise, because I swear I remember this movie. It's just been, you know, I was probably very young and I've only probably seen it that one time and I've never seen it again. Not that I probably didn't like it, but I was probably just really young and didn't. But I've always talked about it. So I'm tempted. Like if this, you know, obviously if the sequel comes out, but I'm tempted to freaking, you know, watch it right before just so I can get back up to date on it. So neat.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm going to watch it again before it comes out because I want to watch, I want my kids to watch it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then one other thing to talk about that came out was the Witcher trailer.
Dude, that's Henry Cavill, right?
Henry Cavill, yes.
Yeah. Is it Henry or Harry?
Henry.
Okay, Henry Cavill. Okay. So I only know Witcher because Ty is obsessed with that game. And by that I mean, like, I think that's one of his favorite one player, especially Witcher 3, which he's not the only one. I've heard many people talk about Witcher 3 being one of the greatest video games ever made.
The amount of people that still play it after, I want to say it's been out for 4 years or 5 years.
Oh, repeatedly. Yeah, like playing it through the story over and over and over again. So what was cool is I watched the trailer just blindly, and he's told me a little of the lore. Dude, Henry Cavill, I thought when I saw him as Superman, that guy was enormous.
Yeah.
And then I see this trailer. That dude is jacked. Like, he's scary. Like, he looks...
Yes.
He's massive. It is insane. But the show looks good, man. I mean, it's funny. We talked about Netflix and showed, like, what they're going to do to fix themselves. And they have this. They have the sequel to Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Right? Not the sequel. Sorry, the show for Dark Crystal. And then they're bringing back Rocko's Modern Life. And honestly, like something Ty mentioned, and I agree. Like, what if they brought back Saturday morning cartoons? What if Netflix
just bought all the rights of those things?
all those old 90s cartoons, man. What if Netflix just brings them all back, man? I loved Rocko's Modern Life. Loved that show. And then we talked about Invader Zim, which I know was more, you've never seen it, right?
No, I won't even pretend to say that it's on my to watch list. It's a really long to watch list. I feel like Captain America. I've got a list. I will add it to the list.
Yeah. Well, I've got all 3 seasons to watch. Invader Zim for me is one of my favorite cartoons I've ever seen. It's up there with, Batman, when I was a kid, and the X-Men cartoon, except for it. Well, Batman Adventures actually holds up. That the X-Men cartoon doesn't hold up all that well. But Invader Zim holds up. And Gurr is my entire Discord is the Urkin Empire. That's what it's from. Like, everything I've done is from Invader Zim. I've done fan art for Invader Zim. I love Invader Zim. It's an incredible cartoon, and I'm excited about it. So the fact that, we're getting Rocko's Modern Life, we're getting The Witcher, they're doing The Dark Crystal, they're doing Invader Zim. Netflix in general is just killing it. Like, the things that they're doing with that are just very, very impressive.
Yes, no, completely. And yeah, as soon as I saw that Invader Zim thing, I had to link you that in the Discord, and I was like, I didn't even put anything to it. I just posted the link and was just quiet.
Yeah. I'm very, very excited. Losing my stuff. And I know I just perused over a bunch of announcements, but they're all cool things. And I think they lump together. I mean, Netflix is
it's Netflix
success. Yeah, but people that are a fan, I've heard them be very excited about the Witcher show. It looks promising. They're happy with it. So I'm happy to see that from people who played and that was one thing I did find out. So it's not, if you're a fan of the video games, if you love the video games, The Witcher is not based on the video games.
No, it's on a combination of all the old books and everything, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's based on the books. So there's some things that I guess one thing that's pointed out is cat eyes or something like that. But there's little details that were important in the game that were for the game, but these are based off the book. So if you love the Witcher games, you love the lore behind the Witcher games, I recommend you go check out the books, man, because you might like to read those before this show comes out. And I personally, I'm gonna watch it. And it looks good. It looks good. It looks entertaining. He looks like he's gonna kill the role. I like Henry Cavill. I think he's good. He's a good actor, and it will be cool to see it.
No, I completely agree. Just speaking about reading, because I know I talked about it in a previous episode, was I now have a copy of The Sandman, and I've started reading it. I started reading while I was out of town last week. So.
You started reading The Sandman.
I have.
Oh my God, so much we'll talk about. That's in that Netflix as well?
I believe it's going to be Netflix. That's why it came back. I was like, yeah, it's the right time to talk about it. I've started reading it in preparation of watching it when it comes out in a year or so.
Yeah, and I cannot wait. I mean, if they do the Corinthian right, I'm going to be so extremely happy. That is one of the scariest things ever.
Yeah, right now I want to say I'm halfway through the Sleep one. Yeah, halfway through Sleep.
Okay.
Well, you just keep on. I just turned my head and there's my entire Sandman series right there. I'm looking at all my books right now.
It's so good. Everybody should read that as well and get excited about that. It's Neil Gaiman, so naturally it's going to be amazing to read. So all good stuff, man. Really good, cool TV show announcements. Some really exciting things coming. Netflix up in their game. I don't know if they can still defend that price point, but maybe not. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Exactly. The price point's going to be the big stick for a lot of people.
Yep. And I know friends who, it's kind of smart. I never thought about it because, I have HBO, I have Amazon Prime, I have Netflix, and I have Hulu. But, and I bounce around a lot. But some of my friends, pretty smartly, they stick to one, right? So they sign up. Amazon Prime's hard to get away from because Amazon Prime has other purposes. Yeah. But they'll cancel their Netflix membership. Then they'll do Hulu, right? So let's say they do the Hulu one. They'll watch Hulu for a year. They'll stay dedicated to Hulu for a year, letting Netflix and HBO build up a year's worth of binging itself. And then they'll drop Hulu once it's kind of gotten, it's gotten its use. They'll then, go subscribe to one of the other streaming services. binge all those shows now that are on their list over the course of a year, and then switch to another one, which I think is pretty genius. I mean, for
That
saving
is
money
actually. I
and
never
stuff.
even thought about that.
Right, neither had I. And it's funny, it's so simple, but I'd never thought about it. So for any of you trying to save money out there, that's what I recommend. My friend Tim, that's what him and his wife do. It's pretty genius. Just stick to one if you can deal with that. If you don't have to see shows right as they come out, if you're okay with just missing them for a moment, stick to one of the streaming services and watch all the shows that it has to come out, abuse the crap out of it for the time you have it, and then cancel it, move to the next one. And you could build that around like your favorite shows thing. So like Stranger Things, that's your show. You could binge, Hulu, and as soon as you know Stranger Things is coming out, you got to see that show as it comes out. You just switch over, man. You just switch over, cancel Hulu, go to Netflix, get her done. Like, I think it's genius. It's really cool.
I completely agree. I think it is totally genius.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about that, the HBO announcement for, HBO Max, which is another streaming service that is coming out.
Yeah, kind of crazy. And that involves Warner Brothers, who is the rival to Disney and Marvel,
yes,
specifically because they own DC. So,
yeah,
going to be cool to see what they bring about on that.
So one of the things that not even going to be on, sorry, I'm cutting you off, but not even going to be on HBO Prime or HBO Max. I'm going to get them all confused.
It's just a lot of names. Ugh.
Something that Warner Brothers or DC is finally doing, which I think is genius, is they are going to interweave all of their TV series universes together. And they're doing it in what they're calling the Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline, where they're having crossovers from Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Green Arrow, all of them all having to join together to fight, and which in and of itself is finally cool that they're doing it. But what they're doing, which is really cool, is they're even bringing in historical characters to come do cameos and fight with the current cast. So you're getting Burt Ward coming to be in this new universe. And I mean, you're going to have obviously Ruby Rose as the new Batwoman in there. Brandon Routh is going to be Superman again, which is actually really, really cool. It was a really cool thing that I think DC's finally doing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna lose my my nerd card right now, but I actually haven't watched Crisis of the Infinite Earth. I've actually heard that altogether is kind of an insane. If there's one thing, it's funny because DC does all these nutty things, and they've reset themselves so many times. Like the New 52 when they did that was a big deal, and like all the new books that came out of that, and kind of like the switch up, a lot like what we're seeing with the X-Men stuff in Marvel. Mm-hmm. They do these switch ups, and a lot of comics can't last forever as is, right? Like you have to change it up. But DC, I think, has done it far more times than Marvel ever has. But DC also, like, you're seeing it a little bit with like Spider-Man and Spider-Verse, but DC plays with the different dimensions a lot. Like they play in that world a lot. It's how we got the Watchmen, right? Like when that was an interdimensional shift, like where the Watchmen come introduced, and that's how they kind of brought those Vertigo names in. So to play on that, where I think I agree with you that it's kind of genius. If you were a fan of like this specific show, then it's easy for them to just say, yeah, that was just a different dimension, and you're going to get a crossover where you might have a couple of different of the same character of different actors. Like we talked about the Flash. Like how do you solve the Flash problem? You just have multiple Flashes. That's easy enough, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like there could be multiple Barry Allens, no problem, right? Because of the way DC does their stuff. And if that's the way you're doing it, and it's interesting. I think it's interesting because not only do they have that option, right? They're letting go of like titles for people to make like one-off movies. For instance, Joaquin Phoenix, we've talked about that with the Joker. Yep. Like, what options are we going to get there? Is Joaquin just going to show up randomly? And you know what I mean? And maybe not. Maybe it never happens. But with this door open, they can. And it almost becomes just as chaotic as the comics can be, which is cool in its own way. And it might, like, revitalize a little bit of what, like, DC owning to their strengths, take the characters that are working and the actors that are doing a really good job, and you can mix and match those things and like have fun with that. And for instance, you know, like some of the, we just talked about Henry Cavill probably never coming back as Superman. You know, Ben Affleck's never coming back as Batman. Not that I'm sure I'm sad about that. Nothing against, you know, Ben Affleck. I'm telling you, Ben Affleck's actually, I think he's an incredible director and an amazing actor. When it comes to Batman, he might have just gotten the shaft in the whole calamity of how bad things were. But like either way, like we're probably not going to get those guys. But like, what if we get old Batman and it's Michael Keaton? Like just out of nowhere, we get Michael Keaton or George Clooney. You know, just kind of funny stuff like that.
Yep.
Or Val Kilmer. You know what I mean? Like just funny little things here and there.
Like why not? At this point, why not?
Why not? Because what do they have to lose now? Not money. They've lost plenty of that. So just go for it, right? Like I just think it would be funny. And I mean, Michael Keaton's on a come up right now, right?
Oh, he is.
When he did that Birdman movie, that was incredible. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's amazing, and Edward Norton's in that, and it is just. And so is oh my God, she played Gwen Stacy in the
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. Birdman's a great movie, and then he plays the Vulture for Spider-Man, and he is incredible. Like Michael Keaton's doing things right now, so why not? Like, hey man, you want to play Batman again just for fun? Like just for a cameo appearance.
Just come back, have some fun with it.
Yeah, and speaking of cameo appearances, I know this is a little off topic, but Zombieland 2
oh my God, I cannot wait.
Amazing. And I don't know if they're going to, not only does it look amazing, but the cast growth is incredible. Not only get the 4 originals like we talked about, but to get the extra people that now they've shown, you know, I finally watched the trailer, it just looks amazing. But I want to see who the surprise cameo is, because to beat Bill Murray's cameo in the first one.
I don't know how they're going to beat it. I honestly don't know how they're going to beat
it.
Yeah, Bill Murray was so good in the first one.
So good. Do you have any regrets? Maybe Garfield. So good. But I'm excited. But yeah, like if they could play cameos in their shows and movies and intertwine that, I mean, again, it's funny because if you look at the history of Marvel and DC, Marvel has taken or copied a lot of things from DC.
Yep.
And it's funny because now in the universe of the movies and stuff, DC's just trying to do what they can to make money to, you know, kind of get a little bit of their name back because that's what sells books. Is your movies being big. That's what sells your characters. That's what does it because of the age we live in. And geek culture, D&D, comic books, board games, video games, like where geek culture is right now, like it's bigger than it's ever been. It is what's popular now. And, you know, this is what they have to do to kind of switch it up. So I give DC props on this. I think the HBO Max and what it's bringing to the table is going to be really, really cool. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what they do because, you know, I don't know what kind of like Adult Swim or Cartoon Network stuff we're going to get. Like Crunchyroll's been on the come up for anybody into anime. Anime's not really my thing, but that's a big website. You're talking about just a lot of stuff under that umbrella. So
I'm going to excuse my clickety clacky. I think Crunchyroll just signed a deal with somebody. Like an actual streaming site, I thought.
Yeah, they're with HBO Max.
Is it? Yeah, okay, that's what it is. I thought it was. Yes.
Yeah, so anybody talking about for what HBO and is giving, right? Is you get New Line, so New Line Cinema. You get Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers obviously, and DC Entertainment, CNN, TNT, TBS, True TV, the CW. Turner Classic Movies, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, and Looney Tunes, which are all under Warner Brothers Media. Yeah. So the Warner Media, which is AT&T's company, that's what they're all under. So that's what we're getting, and that's crazy. So you know that's big. You will not, if you're a Harry Potter fan, apparently that property will not be included at launch.
Oh, and NBC has those rights. Uh-huh.
Yeah, NBC has those rights right now. So it's kind of a weird thing. So that runs through 2025. So any of you Harry Potter fans, don't give your hopes up quite yet. you're not going to get your Harry Potter until after 2025. Long time to wait. I'm sure most of you own all the books and movies. Anyway, I know that we have all the books and movies because I don't read the books. Jess reads books. But I love those movies. They're so good. So, but I mean, it's a big deal because if you talk about anybody who's going to go, I mean, it's hard to go head to head with, with Disney and what they own under their umbrella, but Warner Brothers has quite a bit of things that are near and dear to all of us growing up and currently. So that's a big deal.
The only thing that I see that is going to be a possible drawback, though, is the cost that's being rumored for HBO Max.
Do you know what that is?
$16 to $17 a month.
Okay, so they're in like Netflix territory.
Yes.
So that's tough. I know why, because it's not TV, Steve.
No, I know, and I totally get with what
Really?
is included. I understand the reasoning.
That's what you say to me? It's not TV, Steve.
It's not TV, but at the same time,
Oh my God, Steve, it's not TV. It's HBO. That's all I wanted from you. Where are you at, Steve? Where are you at, man?
Canada,
you leave me
bitch.
hanging with that nonsense.
I'm in Canada. We don't really like HBO up here because it's really hard to get. No.
You let me down, Steve.
I totally
you let me
let you
down.
down.
I'm not. Hold on. I need a moment. No. Don't laugh at me. I need a moment right now.
Take your moment. Take your moment.
I'm taking it. I'm taking my moment right now, Steve. It's not TV. It's HBO. Where were you, man? Should have rehearsed with you. You let me down.
We should have rehearsed it.
Steve.
That's why
Yeah.
I have no rehearsal, no practice. I didn't realize it was coming. You're also talking to a person who's been home. You're also talking to somebody who's been home from vacation for 12 hours.
Listen, don't give me your BS, okay? That's you'd let me down. But either way, I guess one of the big things, if you're a Doctor Who fan, HBO Max is going to be where Doctor Who's at. It's slated to come out, I think, in 2020.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of
early
things
2020 is.
Yeah,
spring 2020 is the expected launch.
Oh, big thing. What is it? That it's going to have. They claim 10,000 hours of content. So that means all of Friends. So anybody who loves Friends, which is leaving Netflix in 2020, your Friends will be there on HBO Max. Yeah. But the big thing is the entire run of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Pretty Little Liars. I don't care about Pretty Little Liars, but Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It actually honestly is. To be able to watch all of the Fresh Prince again is going to be fun. Yeah, I still remember it was probably the first time I cried watching a TV show was the episode where him and his dad, he realizes that his dad's an asshole and he goes to Uncle Phil and he's crying and he's like, why does my dad not want me?
Yeah, no, you talk about it and that show holds up. Okay. I mean, just so good. And I mean, Uncle Phil, oh man. Yeah, oh gosh, Steve. It's just a good show.
It is.
It's coming HBO Max. I already have HBO. I already pay $15 a month for it, so this doesn't bother me. As I said, I refuse to get cable. I don't have cable. I have never had cable. I don't want cable. But I probably pay as much now for all my streaming services together to have cable, but I'm more satisfied. I don't know. Yeah. I like what I've got. Disney
I currently
Plus
still have it. For the time being, but that'll be changing probably in the next year.
Well, you don't know the difference of TV and HBO, Steve. So
our streaming up here isn't the same as this. Like, we don't have Hulu in Canada. We basically our only options are Netflix, which isn't the same Netflix that you guys get, and Crave, which is a Canadian company that buys most of HBO's stuff. And then has their other stuff with it.
And back to like what HBO has. There's the Watchmen series. So I guess there was a nod to Rorschach with that whole deal and what they're doing, which is interesting. I'm curious to see what they do and how the Watchmen series will correlate with the now new Watchmen comic that's happening in the DC universe, right?
Yeah.
Like what's the deal with it? I mean, I love Watchmen. I've stated that a few times on the show.
Only a few.
Yeah, only a few. And so I'm very excited about it. I'm interested to see what happens with that and what that show's all about, and I'll be watching it. The other one, which I don't. Do you know where? So the other big like TV show reveal was the Picard show.
Yes.
For Star Trek.
For Star Trek.
You know
I
where
believe that's going to be on just regular TV. I think.
Okay.
So
that's okay. Okay. Well, anybody who loves Star Trek. So Star Trek is one of those things, and what is it? The Next Generation that he is in. That,
yes.
Patrick Stewart's in.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I talked about it before. I think it was a long time ago. I was talking about like. So I never watched Star Trek growing up. I never saw the movies. I never saw any of that stuff. It was never something I was into. When J.J. Abrams made the new movies, I decided to watch those. I really did enjoy them. But somebody, while I was playing a little phone game that was based on J.J.'s movies, talked about how I shouldn't watch the original. I should watch The Next Generation. I only got through season 1, not because I didn't like the show. I got sidetracked. I watched I heard that Picard was happening, and it's supposed to be following Picard again, and there's something, but it totally ruined something that I guess is a big thing that happens towards the end of that show for me, and I'm not going to say it here because I don't want to ruin it, but forewarning, if you haven't seen the Picard trailer and you haven't watched all of The Next Generation, you have an interest in watching The Next Generation, I'm pretty sure a huge spoiler was just ruined for me. And I know the show's really old, so it's not really truly a spoiler, but I'm not going to spoil it for other people because it was spoiled for me. But it does have a major spoiler in the trailer for the original Next Generation show. And it's showing characters that I don't know who they are because like I said, I only got through the first
There
season,
was quite a few characters in there that I was really excited to see come back. Some of them actually weren't even in Next Generation. So that's where I thought
they
it was
looked
really
like
cool.
characters from like other shows I'd like.
Yeah.
So it seemed a little crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of them was from Voyager.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it looks really cool. So I did a quick clickety-clacky, and it looks like CBS All Access and possibly Amazon Prime.
Ooh, I'm glad you brought up Amazon Prime. So, a show that we talked about, that I don't know if we announced it on the show or if we just talked about it afterwards. So, Amazon Prime released a show about if you want to call it like, so there was a version of Superman that was, hey, if Superman were born in, or if he landed in Russia, vice America, how would that have changed the world? Because you're talking about the most powerful super being ever to be created in comic books and stuff, and now, clearly he's used as a Russian weapon instead of an American treasure or whatever. Yeah. I hate Superman. I don't love Superman despite Steve's stupid notes in one of our shows, our episodes, I think episode 14, I Hate You, Steve. I don't love Superman. I hate Superman. But it talked about, like, I think it was like the Red Sun or something like that, and it's like Superman under the Russian regime. Well, the Boys is kind of an interesting take on something similar. Now, they are primarily, American superheroes, and they talk about, like, the corruption that could come with a business owning superheroes, right? We have these superhuman beings, and them like kind of collecting them and the corruption behind it, and you have another gang of people who are referred to as the Boys that are like fighting against this, and it's a really, so I binged the show as soon as it came out. Jess and I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the show. I will say this, so the main character is Billy Butcher, played by Carl Urban. He's actually, speaking of Star Trek, he's Doc. I think that's his name, Doc, or whatever. I'm just a Dr. Jim or whatever his main line is. Anyway, he plays him. He's also the coolest version of Judge Dredd ever. Yes. The guy's insanely good. He's insanely talented, and he's amazing in this show. But that's not a surprise to me because I love Carl Urban.
Yes.
Who surprised me is who plays the main hero in the show, Homelander. So he's like the Superman of the show. Like, seriously, he's got flying, laser eyes, super strength, crazy fast. Like, it is Superman. And he's like, it's everything, but he's called Homelander. And that guy's name is Anthony Starr. And I guess it's funny, we're talking about another like Australian, New Zealand type actor. But he's a New Zealand actor. And his performance in this show, Steve, when you watch it, his performance in this show is so good. He is by far my favorite actor in the show. Like, the guy who plays Homelander is just Anthony Starr. He is incredible. So, if you've got Amazon Prime, definitely suggest you binge the crap out of the show. It is really, really good. It's got its ups and downs, its surprises, its turns. It's just, it's super fun. It's a super good show, worth time. And Amazon Prime, just like another show that's just killing it. I heard they canceled The Tick. That breaks my heart because The Tick is just amazing. That show's amazing, and it was a bummer to see that they canceled that. So,
yeah, The Tick is so well written. I think the problem, like, okay, it's not a problem, but I think one of the issues it had was it's very much an adult cartoon.
Yeah, what, you talking about The Tick?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was a live action, and it was very much a live action thing. It saddens me because, like, that and the JCVD, the John Claude Van Damme show, like, I was sad that those are both, like, I don't know, I really loved them. They're so good, and I'm sad that it went away. I hope that The Boys, so it's already slated for a second season, but we won't get it till, I think they said, the end of 2020 or beginning of 2021. So just be aware that when you watch, I think it's only 8 episodes, when you're done with the show, it's going to be a wild, long ride to watch any more of it, and you're going to want to see more. It is just really good. So
I will take that into account before I watch it.
Yeah, it's just know you're not getting another season. It is approved for a second season, so pending any issues, which I hope there's none. It's supposed to happen end of 2020, beginning of 2021. Did you have any more reveals from Comic-Con you'd like to talk about?
I liked the inclusion of the new Dune series in HBO Max. Did
you say Doom or Dune?
Dune. Dune. Dune.
Okay, Dune.
Yes.
That's the spice, right? With the worms?
Yes. Yeah. Really old, very well loved cult kind of movie and books. And they're doing.
Was it a movie or a series? It was just like
I think it was a series.
It a really long movie or something. Yeah, but I've only heard good things. I used to talk about the show / books on the boat all the time when I was on the submarine.
Yeah,
people loved it. They were in love with it. And like you said, it was a bit of a cult following. I know people who just very much, the books especially, have a huge following. So I would be interested to see something for Dune.
I've watched the movie once or twice.
Okay.
But or the series, I don't know if it's a series or a movie. I keep saying movie because I feel like it was a movie that was like 8 hours long.
Yeah, that could be it. I don't know personally. I remember people talking about it a lot, and I would ask a lot of questions about it. So I think I had a lot of stuff ruined, but I didn't mind because it's like I'll probably never watch it or whatever. So yeah. I'm excited, to hear a new thing come out. I can't believe. So the announcement I want to talk about was Terminator.
Yes. Thank you.
How is there another Terminator happening? I don't think I've seen. God, I don't remember the last Terminator I watched, and I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen some in between. T2 Judgment Day is like my favorite ever. I've seen the first Terminator, I think, like once or twice.
T2 is the best out of all of them, so you're not really missing a ton. I've watched every movie.
Okay. So, is there a plot that, Skynet, right?
Yeah.
Skynet's like the singularity that exists with it, and, obviously the world, everything that happens with AI and these robots and everything that's happening. But the reason I bring up T2 is that Terminator Dark Fate is going to have Edward Furlong.
Yes.
Who was John Connor in Judgment Day. But it's also going to have the return of the woman who played Sarah Connor.
Yes, his mom is back.
Yeah, which is crazy. As well as, obviously, from the most recent trailer I saw, Arnold Schwarzenegger, also in the movie.
Yes. So they did. I actually think Arnold's been, either him or his likeness has been in every movie.
Okay, so it has been in every one. I wondered if Arnold's been in every, like you said. I know, one of the ones I saw had a young version of him.
Yeah, that
they CGI'd him to be young or something, and it was on a robot, and I don't remember which one that was.
That was the one with Oh, my brain. The guy from Avatar.
Oh, okay. But the big thing with this is it's going to be R rated, which is the way it should be. If I'm being honest, I don't think
it
T2
should have always been R rated. No, I don't think.
I don't know if T2 was R rated. Was it?
I don't think so.
I know the first one was.
Yeah, I want to say it was because just all the amount of blood and death. I want to say it was the whole like pulling the robot flesh off of the exoskeleton, like that. All of that stuff was so disgustingly well done that I don't see it not being rated R.
Yeah. Well,
I'm trying not to clicky clack. So
no, you're good. You're good. I feel like I don't remember if that was a rated R movie. It might have been.
Yeah, I want to say it was. But yeah, no, they tried to reset the whole Terminator timeline recently with I want to say it was called Genesis.
Okay. Interesting.
It was very
Linda Hamilton,
yes,
sorry.
Linda Hamilton.
Connor. Yeah, that's who's coming back.
Yeah, so Judgment Day.
It is rated R.
Yeah, it was okay.
No, the Terminator was.
Yeah.
The Terminator was rated R. I'm trying to find the rating for... Oh, it was R. 2 was R. Okay, never mind. So that's been the problem. I think they've started to make them PG-13 or some crap like that. Or maybe they've always been R. But either way, the director, Tim Miller, confirmed to be an R rating, and his exact words were, the DNA of Terminator is an R-rated effing movie. So to not do it R feels disingenuous to the source material, which T2 won 4 Oscars. It is an amazing, you know what I mean? It's an amazing movie. And do you know who directed T2?
I don't actually know. It was James Cameron, wasn't it?
It was James Cameron.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. And part of the reason you should watch Future Man. You'll understand when you watch Future Man why you will love the references to James Cameron. Anyway, I don't want to go further in that because it's well worth your time. It's a lot of fun.
I will find it, figure out how I'm going to watch it, and I will watch it. But yeah, so in the Terminator timeline, just because we got onto it, and I actually really like it. So T2, which, yes, was the best one. After that, there was a 12-year wait from 91 until 2003, where they had The Rise of the Machines, Terminator 3, with a grown-up John Connor, and they brought in Claire Danes to play his love interest, whose dad was the one who created Skynet. And then, so they're trying to stop Skynet from happening, but it turns out that Arnold's whole goal in that one was actually just to get them to the bunker where they start the resistance from. He wasn't trying to stop Skynet, because at that point in T3, there was no stopping it. It was, he just needed to get John Connor to safety. So that's their... Yeah, they don't show it that way. They show it like they're trying to stop Skynet.
Okay.
And then in 6 years later, they brought out Terminator Salvation, which is the one that you probably saw last.
That's the one. I think Terminator Salvation's the one I've seen.
Yeah, and it was Sam Worthington who plays one of the main people in it. You have Christian Bale who plays John Connor.
That was it, because Christian Bale was in it.
Yeah.
That's why I watched it. That makes sense.
It's not bad. It's really different. And then they tried to reboot everything a la Days of Future Past, kind of, with this whole Terminator Genesis one.
Yeah.
Where Emilia Clarke plays a young Sarah Connor, and then an adult John Connor comes back.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it again. And there's a young Kyle Reese in it. The whole thing is very weird. Terminator Genesis, I'm pretty sure they're just kind of like this never happened type situation. And then Dark Fate looks really, really interesting. The original story was written by James Cameron, so I have high hopes. The fact they're bringing back pretty much the entire cast from T2 says a lot. And I think is a great sign. And I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about it in our episode today. So thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome. I'm here for you. The reason that talking about Pennywise is the sole reason that I am very afraid of horror movies and have been since I was a child. The original series with, I believe, Tim Curry. Hope I didn't get the name wrong because he is amazing, especially in the Clue movie.
Yeah, it's Tim Curry.
Yep. So Tim Curry as Pennywise was incredible, but I have to give credit to Bill Skarsgård and his ability to play Pennywise in this new one. I've seen a couple of the trailers for the new series. I've watched the original. I watched the new one that was released in 2017. It scared me again, even as a 32-year-old man, which is sad. But here we are anyway. It doesn't matter. And you know, I'm still friggin' I'm just super scared of Pennywise, but I know that people are very looking forward to it. I think it looks amazing. And then Tom Cruise in Top Gun, a sequel. Yeah. I don't care about Top Gun. I saw it. I didn't see Top Gun when I was young. I didn't see Top Gun until I was in high school, and I thought it was a dumb movie. So I have no interest other than the fact that I think Tom Cruise is a whack job, but an amazing actor that I would possibly give the second iteration of that movie, a sequel of that movie, a chance. But either way, I just thought I'd throw those in there at the end here, as well as Jay and Silent Bob are making a sequel, which I am excited about. I think Kevin Smith's amazing.
That I'm super excited about.
Yeah, I think Kevin Smith's amazing. I think that his support for everything. He tweeted out today, we just had a mass shooting again because for some reason idiots can't stop killing people because they suck. And he talked about just celebrating by creating something.
Yeah.
So
to create something
today,
pretty.
We just got told by Kevin Smith to create something. Steve and you are creating something because he said that a lot of innocent lives lost the chance to create something. So in their honor, he wants everyone to create something. So Steve, we're creating something. And you know, just it sucks, man. It sucks that innocent people died of stupid people doing stupid things, being careless and dumb, and you know,
it does. And our thoughts go out to everybody affected by it.
You know, it's a tragedy. I don't believe in that, so I don't. You know, the whole thoughts and prayers thing that doesn't do anything. Take action. Take action,
no,
Steve.
I want people to take action. I agree. I want action taken. I live in a country where we have almost no gun violence.
No, that's fair.
And
but I don't want to get political.
No, I don't. Me either. I'm just people need to take action because thoughts and prayers don't matter. But my thoughts go out to the victims of it. I am not in a position to make things happen, so people make things happen that can make things happen. Do it.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, I know.
I like to give you a hard time.
I know you do.
Yeah, especially since you screwed me on the HBO content. So, but your sentiment is noted.
All right,
and thank you for that, Steve.
We are.
Either way, we're creating something for Kevin Smith's for tweet to respond to that. I think it was kind of cool. It was a creative. Well, it's kind of a weird word to use there, but I thought it was a really neat way to support. Is to just think about the fact that these human lives are gone. They're not coming back. And to create something in their honor, I think this is cool to just create something for them. And yeah, I think with that, Steve, tell them how to reach us.
Yes, on that somber note, I am CanYouGeek at Twitter. He is Southam Designs on Twitter. You can reach us on Facebook, CanYouGeek Podcast. Find us on Patreon. And thank you all for your support.
Later, nerds.
Later, nerds.
Today's music is used by permission from the artist Broke for Free. The song is called Something Elated. You can find it on freemusicarchive.org under the user Broke for Free.